Hey, Ethan, it is Dr. Stephen Cabral. Excited to be chatting with you and your club here today. Artificial intelligence is something that I am absolutely excited about, interested in. I see its potential for good. I see its potential for evil. And obviously, you and your colleagues, your friends are going to be able to use this right away out of school and do some pretty phenomenal things. And hopefully you're one of those people that's going to be using it for ethical and good purposes. But I'm sorry I wasn't able to do a call with you, but I do want to help out. So I'm going to answer your 6 questions here today. And of course, if there's any follow-up, we can have a little chat. So here is the first question. What are some advancements in AI regarding its human-like qualities, making AI robots more human-like with hair follicles and soft tissue? So how I want to start this is basically for you and the AI Club is to understand. So I'm a board certified doctor of naturopathy. I've been practicing now for almost 25 years. We've seen over 300,000 patients, wellness clients in our practice. It's now completely virtual and has been since about 2019. We've run over 500,000 at-home lab tests, and we're one of the largest, if not the largest, at-home functional medicine test provider, looking at hormones, genetics, heavy metals, everything, you name it, we look at it. We run over, I think, 50 different labs. So that's kind of how we approach things, is from a doctor that instead of uses pharmaceuticals, looks for the underlying root cause, and then uses diet, exercise, stress reduction, tox removal, rest, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplement protocols, and mindset, essentially. So my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, really walks through my protocols. And so do I have anything to do with AI robots, and will I in the future? Most likely not. I'm going to talk more about the diagnostics and the use of lab work and then the implantables and biometrics. However, I keep up with this because I love the industry. So it's funny because I don't even know that making a humanoid-based robot is actually what's going to be the most useful for humans in certain tasks. There are different companies right now that are creating about a half dozen to a dozen different robot-like devices that will most likely be best based on the individual task. So many people in the field believe that it won't necessarily be one robot to do all of the different work. It'll be an individual robot that's best suited and designed for that type of work. So I find that to be fascinating. However, there will always be a great fascination for creating a human-like robot that eventually is indistinguishable from other humans. And honestly, I don't think that we're probably more than 100 years from creating that maximum. It may only be 50 years. I think we'll probably be able to get the exterior, and certainly over video, not maybe necessarily in person, indistinguishable in a couple decades. And then it's just the mannerisms that are always the tricky part, for like the fluidity and the softness of human movement and just kind of the cocking of the head, different things as we speak, moving around, that really makes it human. So I find all of this to be truly remarkable. And certainly I'm in my mid 40s right now. I hope that I'm around to see all of this come true, because I do believe potentially in my lifetime that, and we'll talk about longevity, that a robot will be indistinguishable in both speech, mannerisms, and look as humans. And that'll be pretty wild to not know if you're speaking to a human or the AI, right, with the Turing test. Okay, so second question, how is AI currently being used in the healthcare industry? So right now, not much. Honestly, not much. How will it be used? Maybe we can go kind of right to that. So what will be used in the future is the aggregation of data. Like, that's the biggest thing. So kind of forget about the robot part of it, and let's think of more the software and almost like artificial general intelligence. Well, think about specifically for doctors. So right now, we already know that AI can pass the medical board exam, which is pretty remarkable. But so here's what it can do really well. You have on any given patient, by the time they're 60, 70 years old, you might have like 40 or 50 labs run from them. Well, the doctor does not have the time or probably the bandwidth and capacity to be able to read all of those labs and then aggregate the data and then have an outcome that would foresee potential diseases in the future lurking and looming, as well as what to do in this current moment in time. So what AI will be able to do is assist the doctor to be able to read all of those labs, already have pre-programmed by humans what the outcomes should be if it sees X, Y, and Z. And then it's going to be able to process all of that data within a second, couple seconds, and then be able to spit it out just like ChatGPT on exactly as what's best for this patient. Then the doctor will be there to say, yes, 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 no on this because of this, medication or whatever it might be, because it might not have been entered in the system, and then move on to this. So that's how I believe it will be used in probably 2 to 3 years from now. So it's going to happen really quick, and it's simply going to be on the back end of electronic medical records for doctors. And then in the health, like more of the natural health industry that I'm in, our company is actually doing this, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, so how is AI being used in research? Well, right now, I'm already using it for research with ChatGPT plugins that looks at scholarly and other research-based, essentially apps that plug into ChatGPT that not only look at research that has already been done in a given area. So for example, let's just say I'm working with a patient and they have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So they have low thyroid, high antibodies, et cetera. I can go in and I can say, has there been any research done on a link between Hashimoto's and high levels of mercury from the environment? And then what it will do is not only will it show the research, because I already know that there is, but it will point to the specific research studies that simply then gets that data to me faster, that I can then link into that data to then look at what levels, at what time period, et cetera, that would actually lead to a greater chance of Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So that's how I'm currently using it. I don't use it for writing really or anything like that, but in the future, of course, I mean, that's coming. So plus books, I like to write on my own. I very much enjoy that process, but citing research will be even easier, right? So there's that. The other thing that I like to use it for is that I'm able to search in a plugin for research that is currently being done, but has not been yet published. So I'll actually be able to look at what's currently being researched, which is pretty fascinating, so that I already know that a study is being done in this and when the completion of that study will most likely be. So that's never really been done before, not in any easy way. So that's fantastic. All right, the next one is, what are your thoughts on having AI-capable device implanted into your body? All right, so whenever there's potential for great good, there's potential for great evil. You are implanting something inside of your body, which means that there's two things that could happen from a physiological level. Is one, nothing, your body doesn't attack it, but two, it attacks it as something foreign. So it creates an autoimmune disease inside the body from attacking this thing. But let's just say that there is no issues with the radiation that's given off. There's no issue with the EMFs. There's no issues with the device, the alloy, the metal that's used. Let's say it's titanium, it's zirconium, something very low level, right? That's not going to cause probably a big issue within the body. Okay, so what do we do? Can it be great? Sure. So what it could do is, in its greatest potential, it could monitor every second what is going on in our body with blood sugar, heart rate variability, vitamin levels, mineral levels, inflammatory cytokines, et cetera. So, how amazing is that? Now, would that be extremely overwhelming for the patient and end user? Yes. So what is it really best for? It's really best for researchers and people who run the app to then be able to, as I keep saying, aggregate the data, process it, and then say in a very simple manner, today is a higher inflammatory cytokine day. Have you been exposed to it? Maybe it'll even know. You've been exposed to higher levels of pollen in the environment, or you are sensitive to cat dander. It might already know all of these things, which would be unbelievable. We're pretty far away from that. I'm not going to lie to you. We're nowhere yet close to that. The closest thing that we will have soon is the Apple Watch giving a moment-to-moment reading on blood pressure. Right now, they had to remove that. You can sit there, press the button, and try to read your blood pressure. You can do that for an EKG to let you know if your heart rate's off. And in the future, instead of using a blood glucometer or continuous glucose monitor, which is a little needle put in the body, your watch will be able to read that through not infrared rays, but actual rays that are going under the skin and looking at the glucose. So that's probably 3 years away, 2 to 3 years away, which is very impressive, right? The next, I think, will be a semi-implantable, almost like a continuous glucose monitor that looks at far more, such as your so you get your glucose, but it looks at inflammatory markers, it looks at vitamin levels, mineral levels, et cetera. I believe that's next. All right. So, but I think, yeah, sky's the limit, and that's going to be a huge industry. No doubt about it. People are already working on it, but fascinating as to how it will work. A pellet under the skin, something that that's injected and kind of floats around at like a nanoparticle, base size. Yeah, potentially. Or it might just be a above the surface implant that's touching the blood. I could very easily see that as well. Okay. The next one, let's see. Do you think AI will ever be implemented directly into patient care, diagnosing conditions, diseases, et cetera? Yeah, I believe it's the first place it will be implemented. I actually believe that artificial intelligence will be used within just the next 2 years into patient diagnosis, conditions, disease. Because as I said, it's going to be able to not just look at an individual patient's labs and their outcomes in terms of how a medication or how supplementation, et cetera, is working. It's going to be able to look at, in the US alone, there's like 167 million adults, something like that. It's probably higher. It's 330 million people in the United States. I don't know, but it's somewhere around there. Like, let's just say it's 330 million people, right? So from birth to death, it's going to look at, just in the United States, 330 million times, on average, maybe 12 labs per person, right? So it's an enormous number of labs that it's going to look at, and then outcomes, and be able to train itself on what leads to what. So yes, this will be the very first. It will not get rid of doctors right away, but it will be doing the diagnosing and recommendations, and then just simply approved by doctors, which I believe is the best way to use it for sure. No doubt about it. And that's how we're going to be using it in our practice. So let's keep in mind, we built a complete back-end portal that has now run 500 labs of structured data. So basically all the numbers come in, everything's anonymized, it is HIPAA compliant, and we don't know any of the patient's name on the underlying numbers. So now what we can do is we can say, okay, if these people come in with an autoimmune issue, how many people with an autoimmune issue also come in with heavy metals, or also come in with a history of viral-based issues, or they come in with gut-based issues, or this specific bacteria? So we can then start to look at the correlation between disease outcomes and underlying root causes. And our practice is all about the underlying root cause. So we very much believe that we will be able to figure out the underlying root causes to then diagnose diseases, which will then enable us to fix the underlying root cause. And when we do that, the disease should dissipate, because a healthy body cannot be sick. And that, we believe, is the future of medicine. Not just palliating symptoms through the use of pharmacological drugs, but actually finding out the underlying root causes, which are the vitamin, mineral, omega, protein, and other nutrients, right? Versus the toxicities, which are the too higher levels of hormones or heavy metals or parabens or pesticides, herbicides, et cetera, in the body. So we're going to be able to, I believe, find the underlying root causes, which we're already doing right now on a person-to-person basis, but then teach this to our integrative health practitioners that will then share this with their clients, and they will be leaders in their industry. So integrative health practitioners will have a leg up on everyone else because they're running these underlying root cause at-home lab tests that look for that. So it's very impressive. And again, this is going to happen within 2 to 3 years. That's it. Just 2 to 3 years. We're just a self-funded company, so we have to continue to reinvest and be able to build. We already have the data, but we have to be able to build and architect the AI and machine learning, which moves into your last question. Is patent privacy or patient privacy a concern regarding AI, specifically regarding HIPAA laws? Yeah, without a doubt. So you need to have really ethical companies working on this, and HIPAA laws are very stringent. So everything we do is basically based on HIPAA. So all of our employees have to go through HIPAA training. All of our coaches, of course, do HIPAA training. And there can be no sharing of any information, especially over a lot of these, cloud-based services. So we have direct API hook-ins to the labs that we do our third-party lab testing that is then brought into our system as basically just numbers. So there's not even a lab report yet. And so there's nothing really to take. And then the lab report is created on our end, keeping things super safe and secure. And then only the lab that ran it, our company EquiLife, and then their practitioner has access. So it's never given to health insurance. It's never given to the doctor. The patient or wellness client is the one who then decides who they want to share this information with. And then what they can do is use not an email, but a HIPAA compliant app to be able to share that. So we take privacy we're very strict on that. And it always will be, because you want to just do things the right way and you want to set the right example for the industry. And so that's really what we're all about. We have a medical doctor in all 50 states. We have medical doctors in many other countries around the world. And it's exciting. This is an exciting time. Like I said, I think we can do things the ethical way. I think that things should be done in a very slow and strategic manner that is for ultimately what is best for the patient, not what is best for business. So we always have to take the patient first. And like I said, that is why I believe the initial diagnostic work and the recommendations should be done through AI and machine learning. The more labs, the more outcomes, the more protocols, the better. Then it's given to either a medical doctor for drug-based recommendations or our integrative health practitioners through healthy nutritional supplement protocols, lifestyle factors, et cetera. And then humans still need to work with other humans. I really believe that. I think we're nowhere near close to humans saying, oh, I just want my robot to give me the information. No, I think that there's a certain level of empathy and care that is why a health practitioner, I believe, will always be needed, a health coach, someone there to be able to share with them. Listen, it's not just about, the ones and zeros. It's also about empathy and accountability and trust and knowing that someone will be there when you need them. So hopefully this was helpful, Ethan. And I have no doubt, like I said, that you and your colleagues will be doing great things. And like I said, hopefully this was helpful for you and the AI Club. And I'll talk with you soon. Take care.